often said here on the show that Hollywood is a strange place, particularly when you're riding high. They love you, they can't wait to embrace you, they'll give you awards. It's just like what truly is happening to the former royals known as Harry and Meghan. If you think about it, a couple of years ago, they were getting invites to all sorts of things, present an award to the Oscars, the Emmys. Now they've been snubbed by the Emmys and they don't know why. You do kind of wonder exactly at what point do things take a turn for the worst. But then you can be an actor basically who's so riding high and so well liked. And not only that, you've now got a bit of prestige because you've become an honorary sir. Also, all thanks to our King Charles, who a couple of years back gave that to this wonderful actor called Kevin Spacey. Now, for those that don't know, Mr. Spacey's recently just been on trial at Southern Crown Court over here in the United Kingdom, in London. And guess what? He's been cleared of simply everything. Prior to that, of course, Hollywood spurned him. They wrote him off. Netflix also, let me point out, demanded that they required millions of dollars back from a production that he was working on. He was riding high. House of Cards was a huge success on the streaming giants. And then things took a turn for the worst. But he had prestige, you see, as well, because for a long time he'd become the artistic director of the very much maligned at times Old Vic Theatre in London, turning it around, putting on fantastic productions, actually filling the place and people wanting to come in and watch some of the productions. Amazing. It was all about his star power. He was able to bring people over that we'd only dreamt of. But guess what? How are things now panning out now that once again he's, shall we say, riding high? I was lucky enough to speak to a source at the party that Mr. Spacey had at Soho House to celebrate, finally, his freedom. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. How are you? I mean, this story really, as I say, is fascinating because it just shows how fickle the entertainment world is. You see, even when you think about it, Kevin Spacey has acted alongside some amazing people. Dame Judi Dench, Maggie Smith, you name it. Everybody who's anybody wanted to be part of that particular organisation. I remember going along to interview Mr. Spacey at the Old Vic Theatre. Great fun, little bit cheeky, but nonetheless knew exactly what British audiences wanted. Even at his recent trial, really, the only star names seemingly supported him, publicly at least, were none other than Sir Elton John and David Furnish. Hardly, exactly what you may need in that particular situation, but it has to be said, at least they stepped forward and publicly came out to support him. As I say, he's now been completely found not guilty of all charges. And guess what? Hollywood now wants him back. But the bigger picture now is that Kevin himself would like to move, he believes, more into production and possibly into independent movies. He also believes it will take a long time to repair his damaged reputation. As he pointed out, his name's been dragged through the mud, while the accusers, seemingly nobody knows anything about them other than him and his legal team. And more importantly, guess what? Netflix would like to re-sign him. You see how shallow the Hollywood world is. As ever, I wanted to share it with you in case you've not been across this particular story, because they're all too quick to damn people, but when, of course, it's proven without fine, they don't necessarily want to highlight that. And in my opinion, I'd love to know, what would you do if you were in his shoes? And more importantly, is this now a good move by Hollywood to suddenly re-embrace him when they so publicly, in all of the trade magazines, simply wrote him off, wiped him out of movies without even knowing the full situation? Are we too quick to condemn in this modern society? Or more importantly, can Kevin now truly fight back and knock down the house of cards that fell on him? As ever, do let me know what you think to this particular Hollywood story in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.